Hi, welcome back to Truth Fairy Tidbits. I am the Truth Fairy, and I'm here to feed you little tidbits of information from some sources that over the years have helped me to deprogram from my status mindset, among other things that we'll get into eventually. If you haven't been here before, please go back and start at the beginning, or you are not going to know what we're talking about. Okay, today is going to be a little bit longer. Yesterday's was short because my camera just stopped working, but it happened to stop right at a really good point, so I did not redo the video. So we'll see what happens today. It's gonna be a little bit longer. I'm gonna read a little bit more, but it's gonna be good. So yeah, what are we doing here? Go back, start at the beginning of my videos if you don't know what I'm doing. We're reading Lysander Spooner's book. My husband brought up a good point. People have never heard the name Lysander Spooner, and so he was like, is it Lysander Spooner? So the first name is Lysander, last name is Spooner, and his book No Treason was written back in the 1800s, describing and explaining how government is illegitimate and immoral and pointless, and the Constitution has no authority of anything. So that's what we're doing. Please like and subscribe and share my videos. And also, I'll try to put a link. I'm still learning how to do this stuff on the YouTubes. I'll put a link to my Facebook Truth Fairy page because I post a lot of stuff about a lot of other things. This is just like base beginnings of like just trying to get people to start to think outside of their programming. But if you want to go find me on Facebook, it's Truth Fairy Jones, and it's the same little fairy logo as I have on here. Okay. Here we go. Ready? Are you ready? I don't know if you're ready. It's gonna be good. Okay. I got it. Okay, now we're getting into a section of the Constitution that supposedly gives authority to the government to rob you and everybody else. This is gonna make the point that anything that you don't have the right to do as an individual person, you don't have the right to therefore vote or tell somebody else to go do that thing for you, and somehow that makes it a right. Okay, so example, you can't, it's wrong for you to go to your neighbor, break into his house and steal all his shit. Okay, that's wrong. That's wrong no matter what. So if you get, a handful of your other neighbors together and tell them to go do that on your behalf, that doesn't make it a right. Okay, that's still a wrong. So you cannot delegate a right that you don't have as an individual to a group of people and somehow it becomes a right. Okay, that's the point being made here on the Constitution having any kind of authority to delegate anything. And then we're going to get into a really good section, which is the reason I'm wearing my sarcasm shirt today, because back in the 1800s, they still had sarcasm, and it's awesome. Okay, here we go. The Constitution itself, then, being of no authority, on what authority does our government practically rest? On what ground can those who pretend to administer it claim the right to seize men's property, to restrain them from their natural liberty of action, industry, and trade, and to kill all who deny their authority to dispose of men's properties, liberties, and lives at their pleasure or discretion? The most they can say to answer this question is that some of the male adults of the country have tacit understanding that they will maintain a government under the Constitution, that they will select by ballot the persons to administer it, and that those persons who may receive a majority of the ballots shall act as their representatives and administer the Constitution in their name and by their authority. But this tacit understanding cannot at all justify the conclusion drawn from it. A tacit understanding between parties A and B and C that they will by ballot elect D as their agent to deprive me of my property, liberty, or life. Uh-oh. Okay, I thought my camera shut off again. Damn it. Just getting notifications. Sorry. Where are we? It's going to be a long one today. Hang in there. A tacit understanding between party A and B and C that they will, by a ballot, select agent D to deprive me of my property and life doesn't authorize D to do so. He is none less a robber, tyrant, and murderer because he claims to act as their agent than he would be if he avowedly acted on his own responsibility alone. Neither am I bound to recognize him as their agent. I have the right to say he has no such authority as he claims to have. This tacit understanding, therefore, among the voters of the country, amounts to nothing as an authority to their agents. Neither do the ballots by which they select their agents avail any more than does their tacit understanding, for the ballots are given in secret and therefore in a way to avoid any personal responsibility for the acts of the agents. No pretended agent, therefore, can ever know by whose ballot he is selected, or consequently who his real principles are. The secret ballot makes a secret government, and a secret government is a secret band of robbers and murderers. A secret government is little less than a government of assassins. This is the kind of government we have, and it's the only one we're likely to have until men are ready to say we will consent to no constitution except one that we are neither ashamed nor afraid to sign, and will authorize no government to do anything in our name which we are not willing to be personally responsible for. So we talked about how voting is an act of aggression because you do it in secret in hopes that you can use the band of robbers that call themselves government to force your will on the other half of the country. And you do it in secret because if you had to be personally responsible for the shit that government does, you wouldn't vote for it. Okay, now I'm gonna get into this fun part where he gets a little sarcastic and it's awesome. So talking about taking an oath to uphold the Constitution really it's pointless and doesn't mean anything. And here's why. On the general principles of law and reason, the oaths which these pretended agents of the people take to support the Constitution are of no validity or obligation. And why? For this is no other reason. For this is, oh my God. I'm going to be dyslexic today. Okay. For this, if for no other reason, that they are given to nobody. There is no privity, no mutual recognition, consent, and agreement between those who take these oaths and any other person. Here's an example. If I go up to Boston Common and in the presence of 100,000 people with whom I have no contract on the subject, take an oath that I will enforce upon them the laws of Moses or of Alfred, that oath is of no obligation, not merely because it is intrinsically a criminal one, but also because it's given to nobody and consequently pledges my faith to nobody. It is merely given to the winds. It would not alter the case to say that among these 100,000 persons, there were 2 or 3 or 5,000 male adults who had secretly, by secret ballot, designated me their agent to rule, control, plunder, and if need be, murder the 100,000 people. The fact that they had designated me secretly makes it impossible that there can be any contract or pledge of faith on my part towards them. Being individually unknown to me and having no open, authentic contract with me, my oath is, on general principles of law and reason, of no validity as a pledge of faith to them. It is of no pledge of faith to anybody. It is mere idle wind. For these reasons, the oath taken by members of Congress to support the Constitution are, on general principles of law and reason, of no validity. They're not only criminal in themselves and therefore void, but they are also void for the further reason that they are given to nobody. It cannot be said that in any legitimate or legal sense, that they're given to the people of the United States, because neither the whole or any large portion of the whole openly or secretly appointed or designated these men as their agents to carry out the Constitution into effect. The great body of people were never asked or even permitted to signify in any formal manner their choice or wish on the subject. The most these members of Congress can say in their favor of their appointment is simply this. This is where it gets fun. As a member of Congress, the most that you can say for your appointment and making this oath and everything, and he's going to get a little sarcastic. I, as a member of Congress, have evident satisfactory to myself that there exists scattered throughout the country a band of men who have a tacit understanding with each other and calling themselves the people of the United States, whose general purposes are to control and plunder each other and all other persons in the country, and as so far as they can, even the neighboring countries, and to kill every man who shall attempt to defend this person, his person, and property against their schemes of plunder and dominion. Who these men are individually, I have no certain means of knowing, for they sign no papers, they give no open, authentic evidence of their individual membership. They are not known individually even to each other. But although these men are individually unknown, both to each other and other persons, it is generally understood that the country that none but male persons of age 21 years and up can be members. This was back in the 1800s. Voting age has been lowered, obviously. And women can now vote, and that anything, but point still stands. It's generally understood that none, except for these few criteria, can be members of this band. But it appears that usually not more than 1/2, 2/3, or in some cases 3/4 of all those who thus permitted to become members of the band ever exercise or consequently prove their actual membership by giving their votes secretly for the officers or agents of the band. The number of secret votes, so far as we have any account of them, varies greatly from year to year, thus tending to prove the band, instead of being a permanent organization, is merely a pro tempore affair with those who choose to act in it for the time being. The gross number of these secret votes is occasionally published. Whether these reports are accurate or not, we have no means of knowing. It's generally supposed that great frauds are often committed in depositing them. They are understood to be received and counted by certain men who are themselves appointed for that purpose by the same secret process by which all other officers and agents of the band are selected. According to the reports of these receivers, for whose accuracy and honesty, however, I cannot vouch, it would appear that 1/2, 2/3, or 3/4 actually did vote. Of the secret votes thus given for what they call a member of Congress, the receivers reported that I had a majority, or that at least a larger number than some other person. It is understood among those who sent me here that all persons so selected will, on coming together in the city of Washington, take an oath in each other's presence to support the Constitution of the United States. By this is meant a certain paper that is drawn up 80 years ago, 200 years ago now. It was never signed by anybody and apparently has no obligation and never had any obligation as a contract. In fact, few persons ever read it, and doubtless much less numbers of those who voted for me and others even ever saw it, or now pretend to even know what it means. Nevertheless, it is often spoken of in the country as the Constitution of the United States, and for some reason or another, the men who sent me here seem to expect that I, with whom I act, and all whom with I, Lord. Nevertheless, it is often spoken in the country as the Constitution of the United States. For some reason or another, the men who sent me here seem to expect that I, and all with whom I act, will swear to carry out this Constitution into effect. I am therefore ready to take this oath and to cooperate with the others similarly selected who are ready to take the same oath. Okay. I was trying to read fast so this wouldn't be a 20-minute long video. So anyways, can you hear the sarcasm there? Well, it happened again. But I wanted to finish the video, so I don't understand what's going on. My phone sucks. Okay, so the sarcastic point being made is an oath to uphold the Constitution means absolutely fucking nothing, because the Constitution means absolutely nothing. It doesn't bind anybody. Nobody's ever signed it. Nobody's ever consented to it. Nobody even understands what it is. So Congress, government giving an oath that they're going to uphold the Constitution is absolutely meaningless, which, by the way, we learned just yesterday. The Constitution also grants them their authority to make laws without being questioned. So what the fuck is the point of taking an oath when you're not allowed to question what they do anyway? Okay. All right. I'm going to just do this little quick sign off before my phone fucks over again. Fucks me over. Okay. I think that's enough. I think, yeah, we're beating a dead stick with a horse at this point. Okay. As always, do not comply. Bye.